New Year's Eve, 1993. 6 p.m. Vivian Graham is standing in the Queen's Head pub in Wallsend when the phone rings. The voice on the other end is cold, direct. "You'll be shot tonight." Viv laughs it off. He's heard threats before, dozens of them. He tells his fiancée Anna he's heading home, kisses her goodbye, and walks out into the freezing Tyneside night. But he doesn't go straight home. He makes one final stop, a corner shop on Forster Street, just a few minutes away. He needs cigarettes. 6:20 p.m. A stolen blue Ford Escort sits in the shadows of a nearby alley. Viv approaches his black Ford Cosworth and notices the driver's side window has been smashed. Before he can react, a figure emerges from the darkness. 3 shots from a .357 Magnum rip through the night air. One hits his thigh, another tears into his pelvis. A third ricochets off the pavement. The gunman runs. The Escort speeds away. Viv Graham, 17 stone, one of the most feared men in the Northeast, drags himself 30 yards back toward the pub, leaving a trail of blood in the snow. By 10 p.m., he's dead. 30 years later, his killer has never been caught. To understand why someone wanted Viv Graham dead, we need to go back to the beginning, to a quiet village, a boxing ring, and the doors that made him untouchable. Vivian Graham was born in December 1959 in Highfield, Gateshead, a working-class area on the south bank of the River Tyne. His childhood unfolded against the backdrop of Tyneside's economic collapse. The steelworks shut down, the shipyards closed, unemployment soared. Families struggled. For young men like Viv, the options were narrow: find work where you could, or carve out your own path. Viv found his first outlet in boxing. At a small gym in Chopwell, he learned discipline, power, and how to handle himself. Standing 5 feet 11 inches and fighting as a middleweight, he developed a reputation for devastating long-range punches. In 1977, he won the Northeast ABA title, a significant achievement in a region where boxing was taken seriously. He advanced to the national stages, dreaming of representing England. But during a critical bout, Viv faced an opponent who neutralized his style, getting inside his reach, smothering his power. Viv lost. The dream of the England team slipped away. He briefly moved up to heavyweight, but the fire had dimmed. He left competitive boxing behind. The gym, though, remained his sanctuary. The discipline became his foundation. Boxing had taught Viv how to fight clean, how to respect the rules, how to channel aggression into controlled violence. But the doors of Newcastle's nightlife were about to teach him something else entirely. By the mid-1980s, Newcastle was transforming. The city's nightlife exploded: chrome-plated clubs, cocktail bars, live music venues. Thousands of revelers poured into the city centre every weekend. Where there were crowds, there was money. And where there was money, there was trouble. Viv connected with established door security figures, Paul Pallants and Billy Robinson, men who controlled access to some of Tyneside's busiest venues. His first gig was a Gateshead nightclub. There were no licenses, no regulations, no official oversight, just raw ability to handle trouble. Denied entry, drunken lads causing a scene, drug dealers testing boundaries. Viv didn't hesitate. At 17 stone, capable of bench pressing 520 pounds, he built a reputation on swift, brutal force. If you crossed him, you remembered it. If you respected him, you stayed safe. He assembled his own crew, trusted enforcers who shared his ruthless efficiency. The empire stretched across Tyneside. Pubs paid £50 a week, nightclubs paid up to £1,000. Viv's name became synonymous with control, but doorwork wasn't just about muscle. It was about deciding who sold drugs, who got hurt, and who walked away. In 1980s Newcastle, Viv Graham became the gatekeeper of an entire criminal economy. If carefully researched UK cases matter to you, subscribe. We dig deeper than the headlines. By the late 1980s, ecstasy and house music had exploded across Britain. Newcastle was no exception. Drug dealers flooded the clubs, and Viv saw an opportunity. His model was simple: permit select dealers to operate inside his venues, take a cut of their profits, and ban anyone who defied him, with violence if necessary. Pills bought for £5 were sold for £10, sometimes £15. Viv claimed his share. It wasn't just protection money anymore. It was taxation of an underground economy. Beyond the doors, Viv offered another service: debt collection. Brutal, efficient, profitable. One story became legendary. A pub owner in North Shields had been robbed by a Scottish gang who'd stolen cash from the till. The owner offered Viv £500 to get it back. Viv walked into the pub where the gang was drinking, ordered a pint, sat down beside them, and asked casually if they could handle themselves. Before they could answer, he knocked them out one by one, retrieved the money, and pocketed the reward. Viv's reputation made him untouchable, but it also made him a target. Death threats became routine. Outside Manhattan's nightclub, a Nissan with blacked-out windows pulled up and unleashed shotgun fire. Viv's associate, Rob Armstrong, took 60 pellets to the body. He survived, but the message was clear. Another attempt came at Viv's home. Gunfire shattered his lounge window while he sat watching the film Zulu with friends. The bullets missed. The city's underworld was closing in, and Viv's response was to fight harder, louder, more recklessly. In 1989, Viv aligned himself with the Sayers crime family, one of Tyneside's most notorious groups. Stephen Sayers had been barred from Hobo's nightclub by the head doorman, Stuart Watson. Furious, Sayers returned with Viv and a crew. Viv stormed through the entrance, locked eyes with Watson, and unleashed a barrage of punches. He picked up the 17-stone doorman and threw him across the floor like a rag doll. Undercover police were inside. CCTV cameras captured everything. Arrests followed quickly. Viv, the Sayers, and several others were charged with violent disorder. In 1990, they were remanded to Durham jail, awaiting trial. Inside, Viv's authority held. During a prison riot, he stepped into the yard and barked a single warning. The violence stopped. Inmates respected him. But not everyone did. Charles Bronson, Britain's most notorious prisoner, later branded Viv a rat and a bully, a label that stung. Worse came during a visit from his fiancée, Anna Connolly. She'd discovered Viv's infidelities, 2 more children by other women. Heartbroken and furious, she threw her engagement ring at him and walked out. Viv pleaded guilty to violent disorder and received a 3-year sentence. He served 15 months. When he was released in 1991, Newcastle had changed. The ecstasy boom was mainstream, gangs had tightened their grip, and Viv himself had changed too, harder, more volatile, more isolated. Released into a transformed Newcastle, Viv tried to rebuild. He reconciled with Anna. He cut ties with the Sayers family, hoping to distance himself from their chaos. But new feuds erupted almost immediately. He attempted a partnership with Stuart Watson. the same doorman he'd attacked at Hobo's. The alliance collapsed over money. Viv drank heavily. He relied on steroids to maintain his physical dominance. He became unpredictable, volatile. His enemies sensed weakness. One feud involved Patty Conroy, a rival criminal. Viv banned Conroy's associates from a restaurant he controlled. In retaliation, Conroy's crew smashed the windows. Police arrested Conroy, but his friends, drowning their sorrows at Julie's nightclub, included a man named Michael Bullock. When Viv spotted Bullock inside, he barred him and called him out. The two fought in the street. Initially, Bullock was winning. Viv, fearing a knockout, locked him in a headlock and delivered two brutal punches that shattered Bullock's jaw. Despite the violence, Viv's empire still generated approximately £30,000 a week. But he and Anna burned through the money. Extravagant spending, gambling debts, reckless choices. At one point, Viv hid behind a settee in his own home to avoid a debt collector knocking at the door. By 1993, Viv had more enemies than allies, and someone was planning the final move. Viv's story is one of dozens we're covering. A quick like helps us reach people who lived through these events. In December 1993, Viv and Anna moved into a new home in Walkerville, a quiet area on the outskirts of Newcastle. They planned to marry. Viv talked about buying a countryside farmhouse, leaving the violence behind. He vowed to quit gambling and steroids, but the death threats never stopped. They came daily, phone calls, whispers, warnings. That summer, Billy Robinson, Viv's mentor, the man who'd first brought him into the door game, had been gunned down in his own home. Viv confided to Anna, "I think they're going to shoot me." New Year's Eve arrived. At 6 p.m., Viv was at the Queen's Head pub in Wallsend. The phone rang. A voice delivered a simple message. "You'll be shot tonight." Viv told Anna he was heading home, but he made one stop, a corner shop on Forster Street for cigarettes. A stolen blue Ford Escort was waiting in a nearby alley. As Viv approached his black Ford Cosworth, he noticed the driver's side window had been smashed. Before he could react, a gunman emerged from the shadows. A .357 Magnum fired 3 times. One bullet struck his thigh, another tore into his pelvis, a third ricocheted off the ground. The shooter ran. The Escort sped away. Viv dragged himself 30 yards back toward the pub, collapsing at the entrance. Bouncer Terry Scott found him and called an ambulance. Viv was rushed to North Tyneside General Hospital. Anna arrived first, frantic. Doctors transfused 30 pints of blood, more than twice the amount in a human body, but it wasn't enough. At 10 p.m., 4 hours after the attack, Vivian Graham died. He was 34 years old. Forensic pathologist Dr. John McCarthy noted something unusual. The bullets had struck Viv's upper legs and pelvis, not his chest or head. It wasn't a clean kill shot. Was it a warning that went too far, punishment by someone who knew him? That night, while Viv's friends mourned, his enemies celebrated. At the Corner House pub, men chanted, "Viv no more in '94. Footballer Paul Gascoigne, a close friend, wept openly. Northumbria police launched a massive manhunt. Over the following weeks, detectives conducted more than 1,000 interviews, searched 500 homes, and collected hundreds of witness statements. The burnt-out Ford Escort was found in Heaton. A witness described a man, approximately 5 feet 2 inches, with mousy hair, seen leaving the Queen's Head shortly before the shooting. But a wall of silence descended across Tyneside. 30 years later, it's never been broken. Police questioned dozens of suspects over the years, but no one was ever charged. In 1995, a prisoner named Lee Shah Watson, serving time for an unrelated murder, claimed he'd driven the getaway escort. He named a gunman, described trailing Viv from his home, hearing 3 shots, and burning the car in Heaton. Police dismissed his confession. His story too closely echoed details already reported in the press. Other suspects emerged. The Sayers family had motive. Michael Sayers and Viv had clashed repeatedly. A West End Newcastle family was investigated over possible revenge for Viv's attack on their pub. A group known as Little Legs, including Karen Young, Alan Jackson, Brian Tate and Darren Arnold, drew scrutiny after Viv broke Little Leg's rib just a week before his death. They were questioned in 1998 over an alleged conspiracy, but never charged. Patty Conroy, Viv's longtime rival, was also considered. Conroy later became one of Britain's most wanted fugitives, eventually captured in Spain. Another theory pointed to Blackpool. John Hurd and John Barrett ran Sabre Security, a rival firm. Viv had friction with them over work in the Northwest. Alan Wheat was named as a possible gunman. Rumours circulated about contract killers from London, Manchester and Liverpool. Men angered by Viv's involvement in a European ecstasy smuggling ring. Some believed Viv had crossed the wrong people and the hit was professional. Viv's family offered a £100,000 reward for information. Nothing came forward. In 2014, police files released under Freedom of Information laws confirmed elements of Lee Shah Watson's claims. Still, no convictions followed. Viv's murder shattered more than Newcastle's underworld. It destroyed his family. His son Dean was found dead in 2010, a suspected suicide. Son Viv Jr. was attacked in 2012, suffering a fractured skull. He later served a 12-month suspended sentence for assault, continuing the cycle of violence. Newcastle's nightlife descended into chaos. Pubs fell quiet, landlords became vulnerable, drug dealing went unchecked. Setu, a friend of Viv's, tried to fill the void. He dealt steroids and Valium, eventually arrested in 1999 with £500,000 worth of black market pharmaceuticals. He served time in Spain. Years later, he reflected, "Without Viv, we thought we could do whatever we wanted." In recent years, retired detectives have rejoined Northumbria Police to re-examine the evidence. Detective Superintendent Jane Fame stated, "Viv's death remains an open case. Unsolved murders are never closed." Chief Constable Vanessa Jardine added, "It keeps me up at night." 30 years on, the question lingers. Who killed Viv Graham? Was it a rival gang settling old scores? A betrayed ally exacting revenge? A contract killer from another city? The unusual wound placement, legs and pelvis, not chest or head, suggests something other than a clean execution. A warning that escalated. A punishment by someone who knew him personally. We may never know. What we do know is this. Vivian Graham's story is a study in contradictions. A kind schoolboy who became a brutal enforcer. A protector who terrorized. A man who built an empire worth £30,000 a week and gambled it away. Whose reputation made him untouchable until it made him a target. If you're from Tyneside or you remember New Year's Eve 1993, share your thoughts below, respectfully. Cases like this, still unsolved, still haunting families, deserve careful attention. Subscribe to UK True Crime Files for more deep dives into the cases that shaped Britain's underworld. handled with the facts and respect they deserve. Rest in peace, Vivian Graham. Thank you for watching.